All right, so this Defeating Adventism video is going to start a series. I'm going to introduce here what I'm going to call the Green Cord Dream Series. We're going to start here with this introductory video. I'm going to introduce my friend Greg here in a minute. And this video here is going to be followed by 3 videos on Ellen White's Green Cord Dream. So first I want to introduce you to my friend Greg, who I've known for many years. And Greg, you were here many weeks ago, sitting in this very chair.
Yes.
And I thrust into your lap this book, and I opened it up to Ellen White's Green Cord Dream, and I said, hey, I'm going to be back in a few minutes. Read this. What was your reaction?
Well, Jim, when I went ahead and read the book, what hit me really hard was page 22 and 23. And basically in 1842, she said she was 15 years old. She said that a spirit guide or an angel was beautiful when it had appeared to her. And right away, when I think of something like that in Ezekiel 28, it mentions about Satan being beautiful, being splendor. Mm-hmm. And then it went on that the spirit guide 3 times opened the door. The first time he opened the door, he appeared to her. The second time he opened the door, he brought her to heaven. To me, that's astral projection. She went ahead and left her body. And when she left her body, she was introduced to Jesus. The angel opened the door. And then after the angel went ahead and opened the door, when I was reading here, that when she was descending down the stairs, the angel went ahead and she followed the angel. And before the angel followed, she followed the angel. And before the angel went ahead and disappeared, the angel gave her a green cord.
Do you remember what you said to me when I left the library? I gave you the book. I said, read it. You did. I came back. You looked at me. Do you remember what you said?
Yes, I did. I said, this is occultic. This is occultic. It's from the spirit world. It violates many scriptures about the occult spiritism, being a spirit medium, contacting spirits that's detestable and an abomination.
I didn't tell you any of that before I gave you that book or anything, did I?
No.
I just gave you the book and said, read it. I may have told you it was an Ellen White dream or vision. I don't even remember if I did that. I just said, read it. And I just let you reach your own conclusion.
Well, I reached my conclusion 2 ways. Number one, the most important, based on the Word of God, Jim, and what God says in His divine injunctions in Deuteronomy 18:9 through 14, also 1 Timothy 4:1, and then Revelation 21:8, and just basically that warns about spiritism and the occult, that it's evil.
Right. So when you did that, that's when you and I really started talking. I said, Greg, I'm going to do at least 1 or 2 videos on this Green Cord Dream. And I said, you already reached the conclusion that there was something definitely odd here about this dream. I said, why don't you do the first video? So you're going to follow this introduction up with your first video. I'm going to follow then your video up with 2 more. But this is your first video here, at least on this channel. Let kind of introduce yourself, and real short. How long have you been a Christian?
I've been a Christian for 46 years. I was saved when I was 14 in a small town called Bly, Oregon. My grandmother was a devoted Christian, and she introduced us to Christ, and we got saved in the small church Assembly of God.
Now you have a background in the, I'll say, cults, non-Christian religions, etc. How would you describe that?
Well, I would describe it. I've done research. I read, have many books.
How many books?
Right around 8,000 books, a big library like yours. 47 bookcases. I have sections on the Jehovah's Witnesses. I have sections on Mormonism. Naturally theological sections on Orthodox Christianity, but I have a large section also on the cult. And when I was reading this book here, I brought back memories of what I read in these books that about, spirit guides and angels appearing to you and giving you revelations. And then when I read about the green cord dream, I said, this is occultic. It's just, I couldn't believe it. It's like I was reading one of those books.
Right. So another thing. First of all, how long have we known each other?
I don't know.
Can you do the math?
30 years, maybe?
At least.
He looks a little bit older than me, though. No. But, we've known each other for a while. Yeah. We partnered. We went out witnessing. We went out talking and talking to different people. And I know Jim's real sincere. And it's not to attack anybody's faith or put anybody down, but it's being obedient to the scriptures and just sharing the word of God in love and concern.
Now, you have in the past gone to bookstores.
Yes.
I know here in the United States, and the bookstores are called other names in other places, but here we have a big chain called Barnes and Noble. Mm-hmm. You've been to Barnes and Noble bookstores before and have engaged people who have had similar dreams and visions, haven't you?
Yes.
God, why don't you briefly talk about what happens when you do that?
Well, first of all, I would go on Barnes and Nobles, and I used to just do it all the time. I would go in there, and I would go into the philosophy section, dialogue people, but I especially love going into the occult section and the New Age section. And when I would go in there, I would see someone reading through a book on witchcraft or reading through a book on spiritism. And so I would just ask some questions. Can you go ahead and explain to me why you believe in spiritism or why you believe this? You're looking at that subject, and then they would go ahead and explain to me. And then I said, can you tell me more, about it? And so they would educate me. But from there, I would go ahead and get in the dialogue, and I would ask them, where's your reference point? How do you know this is true? And then we get in the dialogue, and I was able to give the gospel. I remember one time I shared with a lady, and she had probably pulled out books and probably had about 15 books, and I pulled out a Bible. She was Spanish speaking, so her son was translating, and then I was showing her the biblical injunction about spiritism, about communicating with demons. It was wrong, and she ended up buying that Bible. But again, as I mentioned, I was done out of love and concern and just having that dialogue. But I was in many dialogues when I would go on the Barnes and Nobles.
So I want to say that's probably why you read that green cord dream and just reached that conclusion on your own, that there is something completely unbiblical about the characteristics and character of that dream.
Well, not only that, Jim, reading that, I meant if I didn't know this as Ellen G. White talking about her, it would be a book, I think, that would go ahead and be in the occult or New Age section. It would be a book that I would pull out. I meant when I would go in there in dialogue, I also pulled out the books, and I would look at the books, what they had to say. I would purchase a book, tab the book, and say, look, this is what's being said here in this book. This is why it's spiritism, contacting the spirit or spirits in a dream or a vision. And then, again, reading this book and then comparing those books, there's no difference.
And I think that's kind of what you're going to show in your first video, isn't it?
Yes. And then not only that, though, just showing her green cord dream, there was a problem with it. But also, I just wanted to preface it with this. You can't go ahead and warn that spiritualism and the occult is wrong on one hand, and then on the other hand, you're involved with spiritism. So when I would look at Ellen G. White's visions, especially her dream, the green cord dream, she's warning, in her visions that spiritism was evil,
right. But
yet she's involved in it herself, communicating with spirits.
Yeah, she certainly is.
So the video that I'm going to talk about, that I'm going to give, is just going to talk about the green cord dream. I'm going to go ahead and compare some of the research that I did, and then the conclusion just showing that the Bible condemns that completely and condemns her green cord dream as being demonic.
So that first video of yours is going to come out about 5 days after this one releases. And then the next one is going to be followed by me, which will be about another 10 days, and the third one, me, about another 10 days. So with that, we're going to wrap this up. The next video you'll see on the Green Cord Dream will be from Greg, and he's going to do the first video of this 3-video series. So look forward to that video.